everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here, and I'd like to talk about a comment someone left on a recent video. The person was asking what would happen if scientists discovered a way to artificially create silver or gold in a cheap and affordable way. What would happen to the price of silver? And obviously the answer is the price would drop. But it seems like just such an odd question in the first place. The reason I bring it up is because this is not the first time somebody has asked me about this. So I thought I'd address it in a video. But basically, the idea that scientists can make precious metals out of less expensive, baser elements or materials goes back a long time, back to the medieval era with the philosopher's stone and the idea that alchemists could discover a way to turn lead into gold. People have been thinking about this for a long time, and I'm pretty certain that scientists actually can create heavier elements from lighter ones by bombarding them with radiation and adding subatomic particles, protons and neutrons and things like that to the elements. That's actually been done. However, it's a very complicated and expensive process, and I believe you end up with some radioactive isotopes of the metals as well. So you have some good ones and then some radioactive ones. So overall, just kind of a difficult thing and dangerous and expensive and complicated. And I don't think that it's very likely that at any point in the future they'll be able to do it on any scale, certainly not in our lifetimes. So I don't really think it's a credible threat to the price of silver or gold. But there are definitely people out there who are spreading this idea or who have this idea in their head that this is an actual risk for investors in precious metals. And there's sort of another meme along these lines that I've seen out there in comments on videos and also in news stories, and that is the idea that we're going to discover a asteroid or celestial body that is rich in precious metals, or that there's a asteroid out there that's composed entirely of silver and gold, and that it's going to come to Earth somehow, and we're going to have that metal, and it's going to flood the markets with precious metals, and they'll become worthless. And while I suppose it is possible, maybe, it's extremely improbable that something like this will occur. And even if there was an asteroid somewhere in relatively close proximity to the Earth, even if it was made of pure metal, obtaining that metal and getting it back to Earth in any kind of a cost-effective way would probably be impossible, because doing anything in space is very expensive. As long as we're using rockets, it's tough to get up into space. You have to expend a lot of propellant to get any amount of mass up there, mining equipment, refining equipment, the kind of stuff you would need to get it back through the atmosphere. All of that stuff would be very expensive to get up into space. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into the details about why this would be difficult, just because I think it's pretty obvious to most people that within our lifetimes this is not going to be done cost effectively. So anyway, the only reason I even bring that up is just because, again, it's something that I've seen multiple times. I've seen multiple news stories in the gold and silver feed on Google News, stories about these things like celestial bodies. I mean, just Google it. Google asteroid made of precious metals, and you'll find a bunch of stories like that. And it is an interesting article, and it probably does, get a lot of clickbait and views, which I know these, blogs and websites that are putting up these articles and these news agencies are really what they're interested in is traffic. So that's why they're putting these stories out. But just the idea that it would ever be a credible risk for investors in precious metals that some asteroid is going to come to Earth full of gold. I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous proposition. And the idea that people would be able to create hard money like silver out of thin air using some form of alchemy, I think, is equally outlandish. But one thing that we know for sure is that it's not going to take a scientific breakthrough for central banks and the powers that be to create more of these out of thin air. So just something to consider when you're worried about that risk. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling anybody what to do or what to do with their money. But in my mind, in my view, risks like silver becoming available through technology really don't even come into the equation when I'm considering risks for buying precious metals. In fact, I think that it's much more likely that in the coming decade or two, there's going to be technological breakthroughs that make silver a much more valuable industrial commodity. there's going to be a lot more demand in high-tech industry for silver to be consumed. Electric vehicles use a lot more silver than combustion-powered vehicles. Solar panels and solar technology use a lot of silver. And who knows what else is going to come out, in a 5G, everything connected kind of society and world. We're going to need a lot of electronics, and electronics themselves consume small amounts of silver. But if you start doubling or tripling or quadrupling or tenfold the amount of electronics that you're producing, you're going to see industrial consumption of silver go up as well. So I think it's much more likely that technological breakthroughs will cause silver to go up in value rather than the reverse. Whereas I think it's pretty much a sure thing that a lot more of these are going to be created at the same time out of thin air. So anyway, just my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you ever seen these articles about gold asteroids coming to Earth and being mined? It seems like such an outlandish thing to me, but they do come up if you follow gold and silver news. And have you seen the people in the comments talking about scientists creating gold and silver? Let me know. And also, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Thank you all very much for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified with new videos. And I'll catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker out.